All right, so as of this morning, there are about 20 scholarship players from last year's Colorado Buffaloes football team still left on the roster, and I think that signifies that the great purge is pretty much near completion now. Again, this is something that I think we were expecting. If you follow Prime, you see how he built things over at Jackson State. If you even just listen to him and how he talked about this roster throughout the spring or even the winter about how it's going to be a completely new team, we knew that this was coming. And it was great to see Bucky, who runs Well Off Media, post a video. I'll link it in the comments as well so you can check it out. But Coach Prime talking last week to the team saying, hey, most of y'all aren't going to be here after the spring game, but let's go ahead and put all of this on tape. Really showcase yourself, and I'm going to be vouching, as well as the rest of the football staff is going to be vouching for you, talking to other coaches, and really making sure that you end up where you need to end up. Again, people want to attack this man's character, but he continues to show what he is all about. And he's about these kids. And it was great. That was one thing that I assumed, was that a lot of these coaches would meet with the players post-spring game and kind of let them know where they stand, if they had a spot here, if they really needed to look to transfer elsewhere. And it looks like those conversations actually happened even before the spring game kicked off on Saturday. So that's great to know that there was communication with a lot of these athletes. Again, with the transfer portal and the rules that they have now for immediate eligibility, this works in the favor of both the coaches and the players, because the players want to play. They want to be in situations where they want to feel where they can play, where they feel wanted by the coaching staff. And on the flip side, the coaching staff doesn't want to be stuck with players that they don't feel like are up to their standard, or they don't necessarily want to have. And I think that everybody kind of knew going into this spring practice how there was going to be a lot of turnover, and it was great to hear from Coach Prime and some of the other players how they have grown and that they have improved as players, but they need to go somewhere where they're going to thrive. And for most of them, that's going to be on a G5 or FCS team, and that's okay. We were 1-11 last year. This needed to happen. And again, I think Jordan Tyson, Lamonius Craig, out of this new transfer portal bunch, I think they're probably the only Buffs that probably stay Power 5. We'll see about that. But again, this leaves Coach Prime and the staff with an opportunity to bring in, I believe it's about 16 more players. 16 more spots have opened up. And there's still a handful of defensive line, really defensive talent across the board that come from SEC schools, and I think that's who Coach Prime will be targeting. Again, we got 16 spots. Shilo Sanders will be one of those transfers, without a doubt, and he's going to be an excellent addition into the safety group. Again, if you aren't familiar with him, he actually started his career playing at University of South Carolina. He's an SEC talent, coming off an ACL injury last year, but he should be. It seems like he's all good to go going into 23, and he did get on the field last year. I think he was only out for about 6 months after his ACL tear, which is quite impressive, and it shows you the dedication that Shilo had in rehab, because you don't get back with 6 months without putting in an insane amount of work, So we have 16 spots open. This is exactly how Prime wanted things. He wanted to completely flip over this roster. And with the transfer portal, I believe we're going to be able to bring in the right amount of talent. We're going to continue to upgrade with the defensive line, where we're at with our linebackers. There's even some really talented interior offensive linemen still available as well. So we'll just have to see. Now, I know, like I said yesterday, we have offered some different wide receivers. It would be great to get one more wide receiver in there with some experience, but again, that's not a position I'm very worried about right now. I hope that we focus these 16 roster spots, the majority of them, on the defensive line and on edge, because we need some more talent. We need some more depth there as well. So again, the transfer portal era, this is amazing. And even when we had Coach Durrell, and Mel Tucker brought in some great players such as Christian Gonzalez or Brendan Rice, and they transfer out because we're wondering here at CU if we're even taking the football program seriously, and we got a coach that can't recruit at the time, and it was a mess. Not once was I ever mad at these players for doing what's best for them, taking care of their careers, and making sure that they're putting themselves in the position to get recognized and get to the NFL. That's exactly what Christian Gonzalez did, for instance. I mean, he's probably going to be a top 10 pick here on Thursday, and it's worked against us in the past. Right now, the transfer portal has been a big benefit to this staff and to our university right now, and that's the name of the game. I love how fast things can change in college football. I think some NFL coaches wish that they'd be able to turn over rosters as quickly as college coaches can now, because in the NFL, of course, you're stuck with contracts and guaranteed money and all of that. But from a culture reset perspective, this is fantastic for Coach Prime to get as many guys in there that have been recruited by him and his staff. The buy-in's going to be higher. You're not going to have any of that losing culture residue, I guess, that's been here over the last handful of years, kind of sticking with it. The standard has been raised. I'm excited to see what happens next. Let me know in the comments. Who do you want the Buffs to go after? What are you expecting in this transfer portal season? I think we'll see a couple more guys jump in from the roster. But overall, it seems like the great purge is near completion, and it's only up from here, Buffs fans. So, without further ado, let me know what you think in the comments. Hit subscribe if you haven't, and Sco Buffs.